There are stories that spark curiosity, and then there are stories that make the world stop and reflect. Today, we're going to talk about one of those stories, a story filled with heartache, controversy, and questions that have no easy answers. In Hollywood, where flashing cameras never dim, grand romances and devastating breakups become the center of public fascination. But what happens when a cinematic legend, a symbol of perfection, finds himself at the heart of a mystery that the world has never been able to fully unravel? Today, we're not just talking about a name, we're talking about a life. Tom Cruise, a man with a dazzling career, a Hollywood icon, but also a father who has been absent from his daughter's formative years. Suri Cruise, a name forever linked to the fame of her father, yet she grew up without him by her side. What has she been through? People have long wondered. Is Tom Cruise truly the father Suri needed, or is he just a distant figure on the silver screen? This journey is not just a story of a father and daughter, but a reflection of fame, responsibility, and the choices we make. A story that may evoke sympathy in some, but outrage in others. So in the end, what has Tom Cruise lost? And can time ever fill the space he left in Suri's heart? Let's dive into this story together. Tom Cruise, one of the most powerful names in Hollywood. With a career spanning decades, he's not just a box office superstar, but a symbol of perfection. Flawless in looks, talent, and even his personal life. But beyond the blockbuster films and the daring stunts he performs without a double, there's one question the public has never stopped asking. Has Tom Cruise truly been a father in the fullest sense of the word? When people think of Cruise, they picture legendary roles, prestigious awards, and his relentless dedication to cinema. Yet outside the silver screen, he holds another role, one that to many is far more important than any film he's ever starred in: the role of a father. So why is it that when his name comes up, the conversation always revolves around his movies rather than his devotion as a dad? Tom Cruise's life has been nothing short of a cinematic journey. Once upon a time, he had what seemed like a fairy tale marriage with Katie Holmes and was part of a loving family. But when that marriage fell apart, so did something else: the bond between Tom and his daughter. No more candid photos of them together, no more warm family moments. Instead, there was distance, silence, and a lingering question that never faded from the public's mind. What really happened? Was it just the natural drift that follows a divorce, or was there something deeper at play? The irony is striking. On screen, Tom Cruise is the ultimate hero, yet in the real world, he has come to be seen as an absent father. And that leads to an even bigger question. A man who can dedicate years of his life to making cinematic masterpieces, why couldn't he do the same for his own daughter? Was this the unavoidable cost of his career, or was it a choice he made? How has Suri Cruise grown up without the presence of her famous father? And how has that absence shaped her? Born into the blinding spotlight of the media, Suri Cruise was never just an ordinary child. She is the daughter of Tom Cruise, one of the most powerful actors in Hollywood, and Katie Holmes, the actress known for her grace and elegance. From the moment she was born, Suri became a symbol, Hollywood's little princess, living a life of luxury and capturing the fascination of millions. But behind the flashing cameras, was her childhood truly a happy one? Let's go back to those early years when Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes were still together. They once seemed like the picture-perfect family. Tom holding Suri in his arms, his face beaming with love. But everything changed when their marriage crumbled. Katie Holmes made a life-altering decision. She walked away from the world of Scientology, the faith that Tom Cruise deeply devoted himself to, and took Suri with her, distancing them from Hollywood. From that moment on, mother and daughter lived a quieter life, away from the relentless noise of the entertainment industry. Over the years, the public's perception of Suri Cruise has shifted. No longer the little girl cradled in her father's arms, no longer the child seen strolling through the city with him. Instead, she was raised by her mother, a strong woman who chose to dedicate her life to shielding her daughter from the overwhelming pressures of her father's fame. But was Tom Cruise's absence simply a matter of physical distance, or was it a deliberate choice? Suri grew up without her father's presence. No birthday celebrations with him, no family vacations, no father-daughter traditions. While other children were embraced, guided, and nurtured by their dads, Suri was raised solely under Katie Holmes' protection. And so, the question lingers: did Tom Cruise truly walk away from his daughter, or was there something else keeping him away? And the biggest question of all, how does Suri feel seeing her father's face dominate the big screen, yet never feeling his warmth in real life? What is life like for a child without a father, especially when that father is one of the biggest movie stars on the planet? Perhaps Suri Cruise's story offers a rare glimpse into the darker side of fame, the painful sacrifices and bitter realities of those born into Hollywood's glittering but unforgiving world. Tom Cruise, a name synonymous with power, ageless movie star known for his breathtaking action sequences on the big screen. But beyond the glitz and glory, he carries another label: the absent father. More than a decade has passed since Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes divorced, yet the distance between him and his only biological daughter, Suri Cruise, remains an unresolved mystery. For years, there have been no photographs of them together, no evidence of any form of contact. This absence has fueled endless speculation and even public outrage. So the question lingers, why did Tom Cruise disappear from Suri's life? One of the most widely discussed reasons is his deep devotion to Scientology. According to various sources, the church enforces strict rules regarding those who leave the organization. Katie Holmes made the bold decision to remove herself and Suri from Scientology immediately after their divorce, a move that may have created an insurmountable divide between Tom and his daughter. But regardless of the reason, the public finds it hard to accept that a father would willingly distance himself from his child because of religion. They ask, a man who will scale skyscrapers, throw himself into the most dangerous stunts, and defy death for his films, why can't he break down the barriers to be with his own daughter? Every time Tom Cruise steps onto a red carpet, every time he receives thunderous applause for another box office hit, the name Suri Cruise resurfaces. The world cannot forget that somewhere out there, a young girl is growing up without the presence of her legendary father. What's even more telling is that in interviews, Tom rarely, if ever, mentions Suri. He can speak for hours about his career, his films, even his 2 adopted children with Nicole Kidman. But when it comes to Suri, there is only silence. Is this a painful topic he deliberately avoids, or is it something more? His actions haven't just sparked criticism, they've also tarnished his once pristine image. Tom Cruise was once seen as a devoted father, a family man. But now that perception is crumbling. The real question is, can he ever mend this broken bond? And more importantly, does he even want to? As the years pass, Suri Cruise continues to grow up without her father by her side, and with each passing year, the distance between them widens. But will there come a day when Tom Cruise steps forward and says he wants to make things right? Or will this estrangement last forever? More than a decade has passed, and the name Suri Cruise is still mentioned, but not with the dazzling aura of a Hollywood princess as it once was. Instead, she has become a symbol of a child forgotten by her own father. Since the age of 6, Suri has had no interaction with Tom Cruise, an almost unthinkable reality for the daughter of one of Hollywood's most powerful stars. While other children have fathers to take them to school, guide them, and love them, Suri has only had her mother. Katie Holmes has done everything in her power to fill that void, but can she truly replace the absence of Tom Cruise? One undeniable truth remains. Suri has grown up without a father's presence. No phone calls, no visits, no words of encouragement. But perhaps most striking of all is Tom Cruise's absolute silence, a cold, unbroken indifference that has stretched across the years, making the gap between them seemingly impossible to bridge. Imagine this, a young Suri, now coming of age, reading every article about her father, seeing his face on screens around the world, watching him embark on lavish trips and high-profile meetings with colleagues, yet never once experiencing a moment where he makes time for her. No public words of affection, no sign that he even acknowledges her existence. But perhaps the most heartbreaking realization of all is understanding that it's not because he couldn't be there for her, it's because he chose not to be. The harsh reality of time is this: every child once longed for their parents, but when the waiting stretches on without an answer, they learn to stop hoping. For Suri Cruise, that moment likely came a long time ago. No longer the little girl who clung to her mother's embrace, the Suri of today is an independent, strong young woman. She has grown up without a father by her side, accustomed to relying solely on her mother. Perhaps deep down, there are still wounds that have yet to heal, but time has taught her an important lesson. She does not need Tom Cruise to live a happy life. People have often wondered, does Suri want to reconnect with her father? But the truth is, even if she did, it might no longer matter. Love cannot be forced, and when it has been forgotten for too long, it gradually loses its meaning. Will there ever come a day when Tom Cruise regrets it? That remains an open question. But one thing is certain: Suri Cruise is moving forward, building her own future, and living her life without him. And if one day she chooses to shut the door on the father who left her behind all these years, then that would be entirely justified. In the next section, we'll take a closer look at how the public perceives the story and the divided opinions surrounding it. Should Tom Cruise try to reconnect with his daughter? And is it already too late to make things right?